What is going on? What is going on? It is Garcino, and today, as you can see on my screen right here, I'm going to be walking through, without doing any fluff, without doing any stupid shit, I'm going to just basically walk through exactly what I do for research. So, just got home, I was watching the games with my friends, and like I said, I'm going to walk you exactly through. So you saw right now, I'm starting on PrizePicks. I do a minimum data points of 3. I haven't really tried anything else. 3, I think, makes the most sense to me if you don't know what minimum data points is. Basically, that's the minimum. These are considered data points, I assume. Different sports books. And so essentially, what this does is the minimum data points is saying a minimum of sportsbook information required, minimum of different sports books information required to come up with the edge or the EV percentage. So it is sharper. You can be obviously a little less conservative. You can do 1. You'll find more plays. You can do 2, you'll find a little less. If you do 3, you'll find even lesser than that. But because I want to be a little more accurate than not, I would rather do that instead. Minimum data points of 3, and personally speaking, something I did want to mess with was live, but I'm going to first go through pre-match. I'm just going to go through and see if I can find anything. I go from small to big. So if this doesn't make sense, this OddsJam website has broken down the math on the payout systems for each of these platforms for the DFS pick'ems. All I'm going to say is you're going to go through these filters and look for green. When you find green, you try to find plays that are going to be positive EV on the total slip. And then that's your goal. And so let's just say I only find 3 green. Let's just say the hypothetical that there is stuff that is available right now. It is a Sunday evening, so there's not going to be a lot dropping at this moment. Well, let's just say there was 3 green and then it just goes to red. There's no yellow in the middle. If there's just 3 green and you're looking to place a 4-man power, you're just not going to do it. It's more than likely probably not going to be positive EV. So I would stay away from it. You see, we have 2 yellows looking for 5. Nothing. We're looking for 6 because this is a 6-man flex. So you'd be looking for 6 plays. Again, because they've calculated the math on the payout system for each type of play. So we have nothing on PrizePicks. When you switch to Sportsbooks, you're going to want to make sure your filters are still active, pre-matched. So it looks like we got a lot available on Underdog. I'm going to pull it up just to be prepared. I personally like taking the smaller size bets more often than not, just because you're more likely to hit them, but it doesn't really matter because it's all a numbers game. So the higher odds plays you take, the more likely you are to be profitable long term while being less accurate. So it really doesn't matter in the long term. We're taking this one. It is Montez Sweat over 2.5 tackles. Kevin Byrad over 6.5 tackles. And then Carl Anthony Towns over 34.5 points and rebounds. And this is a 3-man non-insured, so it's a 3-man power. And we're going to just place it. As simple as that. You could see we have the total EV. It is positive at 13% positive. Always just looking for positive. That's been my staple. I have been profitable using this for about a week straight. I like to just refresh as soon as I take plays because we know that they're updating in real time. So some plays might not be available, but they still will show on your screen because you haven't refreshed. We're just going to lock in everything right here. Nikola Vucevic, under points and rebounds. Edwards, under PRA, and Zion, under PRA. These are all the same. These are all going to be 3-man non-insured, so 3-man power plays. Insured is flex, non-insured is power. That's if anyone is wondering. So we got a Clifford play here that I didn't take. We got another Vooch, Brunson, and Arden. Nick Who, Clifford over 13.5 PRA, Jalen Brunson over 39.5 PRA, and then James Harden over 38.5 PRA. And that is the end of the green right here, as we could see for the 3-mans. And personally speaking, as you could see, there was 2, I think, there's 2 Carl plays, there was 2 Vooch plays. Personally speaking, if Sharp is right on the prices being mispriced on that said player, you will be right twice if I took them 2 times. But there's a chance that if you mix up, if you have Vucevic in 2 different plays, and Vucevic has a good game if you take the unders, and sells both slips You can turn it basically you turn the risk factor up. You turn it up a notch because there's always going to be variance. There's always going to be variance. You're not going to be super accurate with this method. It's a numbers thing in a sense where when you hit, you will get paid the right amount for it. And you're taking winning plays if you're sticking to the green ones. What I'm saying is if you miss on that player, more than likely if Vucevic goes over on his PRA, there's a good chance he also went over on his points and rebounds. So not only would you have sold just one play, but you have sold two just by taking one player more than once. So that I just like to stick with taking, one player once on a given game, if that makes sense. So now we're just going to work our way up. We're not going to try to repeat plays. We already know the players that we took. We would hypothetically look to do something like, did we use Harden? Yeah, we used Harden. So this is plus EV, but this is not set up as a 4-man. So you have to consider hypothetically you placed a 4-man. This is negative EV because you have 3 yellows. These are all players we took. 5-man insured. Again, we're looking for players we haven't put money on. I'm pretty sure I put money on Edwards. I'm not going to look. Lopez. So it's all going to be yellow. We're not going to find anything right here. If you wanted to take the chances, as you can see, like a lot of these plays are still green when you get to like 5-man non-insured and you go to 5 insured. You could still wait. You can take, the bigger plays if you want to take the chances. The reality is you're probably still going to make money long term as long as you're sticking to this system because you're going to be less accurate, as in you're going to hit less slips when you do the higher ones, but you're going to get paid for it. For example, if you're taking 25x 6-man insured, you're getting a 25x on underdog. You only have to hit 1 out of every 25 to even break even. And then hypothetically, you go 2 out of 25. You're up 25 units. I think that's how, like if you put $1, you're going to be positive $25. So if your unit size was $1, you'd be up 25. If you hit 3 out of 25, that puts you up 50 units. That's basically the math. I've been profitable throughout the week. We're active today still. I'm projected profits, but it's not a lot. It's not a big day, but that's where we're at. We've already put money on all these players. I'm expecting the 6-man insured to have a lot of green right now. I'm going to refresh just to make sure. So I did put money on that guy. We're looking for a 6-man right now. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These is all. I actually think I put money on 8 already. So I'm going to go to Giddy. Okay, let's lock this in. And it's just a process of just hoping that the lines don't get removed as you're doing the research. That's really how it goes. So Russell Westbrook under assists. Brooke Lopez over 4.5 rebounds. Jamal Murray over 37.5 PRA. Juwan Jennings under 12.5 fantasy score. Javonte Green over made threes. And Josh Giddey under 27.5 points and assists. I'm going to be honest, I'm not feeling this Juwan Jennings one because George Kittle just got ruled out. So I'm actually going to switch that one. I'm not feeling it. I'm going to go Duren. I'm just thinking that potentially, some books fell behind on changing their prices, so they put it as a positive EV, but it really isn't. It's just because they're lacking on the news. Because I know that he got ruled out. Who got ruled out? Who did I just say? Kittle. I have him in my fantasy lineup, so I know that he got ruled out. Once again, just refreshed after I took a play, seeing if there's any new names that I didn't put money on, and it looks like there's nothing. Usually when you get to the 7 and 8-mans, you're not going to find much. That's what I've noticed. Usually 6-man flexes is kind of the cap. We're going to look on DraftKings. Haven't really found much on DraftKings in a really long time. They're pretty sharp compared to the other books. And I've also noticed you're only ever going to find 3-man non-insureds. Everything else is just straight red across the board, generally speaking. I have not placed anything larger than a 3-man on DraftKings. I hate that they fucking dragged me in with the promos, but I have already withdrawn more than I deposited, so it's pretty chill. Yeah, we got nothing on DraftKings. I'm going to just go through one more cycle. I might actually fuck around with the live. I'm going to fuck around with the live. Minimum data points of 3. And we're going to see if we can find anything. Like I said, we just go small to big here on the filters. Just go small to big, because I essentially see it as the hit rates going from big to small. Fuck around with the lives. I assume that probably means there's nothing for this. Yeah, there's probably going to be nothing. We'll just go to DraftKings one moment. And this is really it. I'm not trying to overthink anything here. Yeah, there's nothing. I'm not trying to overthink anything here. This is really just odds jam. You are putting your trust in sharp, essentially. What this is doing is checking the prices for you, understanding I am not a genius. I'm not going to speak for you necessarily. If I probably will if you're the average bettor, but I am not a genius. So understanding I'm not a genius, using things like Outlier to try to use filters to beat the sports books is just not going to be optimal. The reason why that is because all of those filters, all of those things that you tried to see the hit rate on, these sports books know. They know what the hit rate is with these filters. They know what the hit rate is with this game scenario. They know it. There's a lot more variables and things that come into play when you're looking at a player prop that we're just not going to be able to process. So imagine there is someone out there in this world whose day, night, they wake up, eat, sleep, drink, let's just say NBA player point props. They're going to be on these sportsbooks apps like FanDuel, Pinnacle, Circa, with these high limits, feeling really confident in placing plays because that is their thing. They are a genius in that said NBA player points. And you know what the sharp sportsbooks do? Not only are they already going to be more accurate than majority of the sportsbooks available, like the softer books, like Underdog, but they're going to adjust based off of these sharp bettors too. For example, you have a line, a sharp bettor takes the over, or multiple sharp bettors, that line is probably going to get bumped a little bit higher, which is going to be more accurate because the geniuses know where to go. So you're really just putting your trust in sharp, not only the sharp bettors, but the sharp sportsbooks. And so for me, being transparent with myself, again, I literally used Outlier less than a month ago, and I was using it to bet. I tried to do plus EV, but it was way too sharp, and it was not California friendly, that's for sure. So I was just trying to be really, I was trying to use all of these filters and all this kind of stuff, especially trying to match the game scenario, thinking it mattered. And then I just had a realization. All of these filters, it's not premium. Everyone has access to this information. And if you don't think the sports books are looking at this, you might lack some brain cells. I did for a very large amount of time, and I had to come to a realization. So that's why I've been liking Odds Jam. Am I saying it's the best thing in the world? No. I can show you with transparency how it's been going for me. I'll log into my PIKKIT right now. If you are looking to track your bets just like this, feel free to sign up for PIKKIT, code Garcino, and you'll get in completely free and be able to do it basically exactly what I'm doing. I think you get the mobile version where you could track all your bets. You could see this calendar and all that kind of fun stuff. But here we are. I started on Monday. I was in a hole. You could see my biggest day up until Monday was $21 profit. I was losing 24 that day, 21 that day, 14 that day, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like it was rough prior, making 47 cents. And so far, I have dug myself out of the hole almost immediately. $40 on my very first day. I lose 20. That's my biggest loss. Then I get $67 profit, $35 profit followed by that. Then I lose $8, lose $1. Today we are projected around $10 profit. And I am doing with this a $1 unit size. My bankroll is not large. As you can see right now, my cash balance not active is only $87 across all platforms linked. So I'm not balling. But if you wanted to just even look at today, my ROI percentage is 147%. So hypothetically speaking, if you placed $100, you would be $147 in profit, if that makes sense. So this has been exactly, again, outlier from here to here, from here to here, odds jam from here to here. So you can see this has been my odds jam progress. It is not going to be foolproof, but it's a lot less stressful. It's a lot less time consuming, and you're putting your trust in sharp. That is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. And like I said, if you're looking to track your bets completely free, sign up for PIKKIT, code Garcino, and get yourself on PIKKIT completely free.